Hello and welcome to a very special episode of Gary Knits, Gary Rides. I have compiled all of the Instagram lives I did over the past week with the designers and dyers for the upcoming End AIDS Knitalong and Crochetalong Winter 23 edition. So we have Austin from Austin's Crochet Podcast for the Crochetalong, along with the Louisiana yarn guys who have put together the kits for Austin's project. On the knitting side, we have Maggie from Yarnaceous Fibers, who's designed and dyed the yarn for her shawl. And then we have the sock knit along with Joanne from Snowy Thistle Knits and Laura from Always Be Kind Yarn. So stay tuned. All the details are coming up. Thanks. So let's go ahead and get started. As I mentioned, let me invite Austin in. There we go. We are sitting down with the designer for the crochet pattern that we are going to be starting. And there he is. Hello, Austin. How are you?
Good morning.
Good morning, or almost afternoon for you. So Austin has generously agreed to design the pattern that we are going to be working on for the Crochetalong this season. I think it's very cool to have a young, kind of new designer doing something for us. And I just wanted to sit down with Austin and give you all a chance to meet him and find out a little bit more about what he's been working on. So, Austin, I know you are in West Texas and you are a student in addition to doing design work. When did you first start crocheting and knitting, or do you do both?
Okay, so crocheting is a person since I was younger, elementary. Knitting, I recently started knitting pre-COVID, so during COVID.
Now, how old were you when you started crocheting?
Elementary?
Oh wow, wow! So a while.
Subtract 26 years from that.
and was it something that you taught yourself, or did you have someone in your family or a friend that taught you how?
My grandmother.
Oh,
Both sides.
right. And did they make a lot of things when you were a kid in terms of crochet?
My grandmother used to make the dolls, the really creepy dolls, like the toilet paper dolls.
Uh-huh. The cover the toilet paper roll?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we had a few, not crocheted ones, but we had a few of those at my grandmother's house as well that she made through different things. So you picked it up at a pretty young age, and have you been doing it consistently since then, or has it come and gone?
Consistently.
Okay. Excellent. And when did you start doing design stuff?
I think it was 2019.
2019. So right around the pandemic, beginning of the pandemic. Do you remember what the very first thing you designed, what your first pattern was?
This was a mesh top.
Okay. A mesh top. Okay. And given that you're in West Texas, where for most of the year, I mean, I know it gets in El Paso. I know where it does get cold. It can get cold in the wintertime. A lot of my family and I spent a lot of time in Las Cruces, just across the border in New Mexico when I was a kid. But for most of the year, it's pretty warm. Do you tend to design and crochet mainly in lighter weight wools?
Well, I guess pre-pandemic, I've been mostly into hand-dyed yarn recently because there's no local yarn store here in my part of Texas. Mostly like in Alice in that part. I mean, I could go to Mexico, but that's probably not a good idea. I mean, it's not like a good idea, but you know what I mean.
Sure. It's a little more challenging in terms of, it's just logistically more challenging. So you've been doing more of your yarn purchases online through some indie dyers and things like that. And then you do, even though you don't have a real local yarn store, you have, Michael's or Joanne's or whatever there in town that you can pick up your other stuff from.
I haven't really bought like actual acrylic yarn in a while, like a lot of, but I don't really drive.
Okay.
So a lot of my acrylic yarn is just what I've had since I started.
Gotcha. In terms of your designs, is there any particular type of design that you like to do?
It's mostly shawls
Mostly shawls. Gotcha.
because the math for it.
Because what?
The math.
Oh, because the math for it is right. Yeah.
Mhm.
No, I can imagine. I mean, I have never tried to design anything, but I imagine starting out something like a shawl or a cowl or something like that that doesn't have sizing issues particularly. It makes things a little more straightforward. How many designs total have you completed?
Um, Last time I checked, I think was including one knit pattern I came out with. I don't know if that was that.
Oh, did I lose you? You froze up for a second.
I have 8.
So why don't 8 total? Okay, great. And that's all. And it's on Ravelry under Austin's Crochet Podcast? Excellent. Oh, sorry, I almost. So let's talk a little bit about the design that you've come up with for the Crochetalong. It is. Why don't you first tell us the name?
Yeah, sorry, the connection's kind of crappy in Cactus because closer to the mountains.
Right. So why don't you tell us about the pattern you worked on for the Crochetalong? What's the name of it?
So I'm actually wearing the one that was supposed to release last year for the spring one last year. Remember, I was supposed to do the spring one last year. So I'm wearing the original shawl.
Okay.
Because remember this just didn't work out.
Right.
So I designed a more safer, more easier one.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. So what is the name of the pattern that you have designed for the Crochetalong?
I totally forgot the name.
I think I have. So it's called the It's Better Shawl.
Yes, it's better shawl.
Okay.
So I have
And
an idea.
it's designed. Go ahead.
Because I have an idea for a collection of shawls that have like the same type of name, which is would get added.
Okay. In terms of the It's Better Shawl for that we're going to start working on January 1. So it's a DK weight shawl in 3 colors.
Mm-hmm. I also have
Um,
written for. I also include the artist for finger weight because it's gonna be on. I think all the bases of the yarn.
Right. Obviously, if it was a fingering weight shawl, right, the yardages and the sizes and everything would be different. But I think as we're presenting it, it's on the in DK, so 3 grams of 3 skeins of DK weight in 3 different colors. And can you tell us a little bit about the construction of it and kind of how it?
Yeah, so I actually have like one of my first. Because when I design it, if something pops up, I'm just gonna crochet it before I forget it. I'll write it later. So this is like one of the sample versions, one of the original trial versions I did.
Okay, and this is just. Is this the whole thing, or is it just a swatch?
Just a swatch.
Okay. So where did the 3 colors and this is not so where are the 3 colors in that one?
This one is only 2 colors at the moment. This swatch is only 2 colors.
Okay. Do you have one that is
Yeah, I brought all 3.
Okay.
So
great.
This was the first sample I made with the yarn.
Okay, so it's has some color blocks and some stripes, and then the border is in one of the colors.
Yes.
Okay. And I'm Kimberly is asking, is it fillet crochet?
It's intarsia.
Okay, intarsia.
And what does that specifically mean?
Basically color work,
Okay.
but like a lot like complicated. It's just carrying the yarn. Yeah, it's it's basically color work, but it's not complicated.
Okay. Okay. You're only working with one color at a time?
Yes.
Okay. And then, okay, so this is another sample.
This is the original colorway. This
Okay.
is the this is the first kit.
Okay. And, and then I noticed you have, some tassels on it as well. Is it able to be is that a chain that's holding them together, or?
Yes.
Okay. And can it be done with or without the tassels, or are the tassels?
It can. I just like the tassels. I mean, I know
Okay.
it's like a lot of work for tassels, but it gives it a lot. It gives it a different feel. The
Okay.
tassels, you can do without the tassels.
Okay. So, and they do tend to, it does look like they hold open that mesh work at the bottom
Hmm.
as well. In terms of if for folks who are doing it in the DK as it's written, do you use up most of the three skeins? Hey, Angel, most of the three skeins of DK, or did you have some left over?
Only a little bit left over, but if you like, you have enough to make like bigger tassels.
Okay. Okay.
Or you can have it. You'll have like a small portion of it.
Okay.
But also make it bigger if you wanted to make it bigger.
Sure. And then I guess if you didn't want to do the tassels, you would just have to block it out so that mesh stays open. In terms of skill set, how would you rate this in terms of beginner or intermediate or advanced? So Carrie saying she tested the
Yes.
crochet pattern and
Yes.
it was a great pattern that was easy to follow. So that's great. Thank you for throwing that in there, Carrie. But in terms of skill level, what would you say?
Maybe advanced beginner because
Advanced beginner. Okay.
because
You scared me for a minute when you said advanced. I was like, oh no, I might not be able to do it.
it's mostly double crochet,
Okay.
and then the entire sections are just carrying the yarn,
Okay.
and then it's half double crochet
Half
section.
half double.
Yes.
Okay. Got it. So let's talk about the release and everything. So since you're the first person that we're meeting for this season, you said this is going to be available on the 1st of December on Ravelry.
Yes.
Okay, and I think it's going to be $8 for the pattern.
Yes.
Perfect. And then hopefully since Carrie was testing, Carrie, I'm going to ask you that as soon as Austin releases the pattern on Ravelry, to post your project photos, and anyone else who is a pattern tester to do that, so we can see lots of different versions of it. Since I know we don't have a sample in the kit colors yet, so that'll be available on the 1st for $8 on Ravelry. Let's talk a little bit about the colorways that you've worked with the Dyer to make for the kit. So we're going to talk with the Dyers tomorrow. So the yarn dyer that you have chosen to work with is Louisiana Yarn Dyes. So that's Duane and Joshua out of Baton Rouge. And I'm going to sit down with them tomorrow, and we're going to talk about sort of their business and the different yarns. But what are the three colors that you chose from their colors to work the pattern in?
Okay, so like I said, I was originally supposed to be part of the spring Crochetalong last year, but like I said, this just kind of work out. So I was kind of inspired by like the two colorways were custom. Well, yeah, the main colors were inspired by Paris and spring. The first one was inspired by Paris and spring. I was searching on Pinterest for some ideas for colorways because I was like, okay, spring. I actually have the newer one.
Oh, good. So what color is this?
This one's Paris and spring.
Oh, Paris in spring or Paris in autumn?
No, spring. Autumn's a different one.
Okay, so this is not the colorway that we're doing the kits in.
No, this is the original colorway plus the newer version.
Okay, okay. So these are older. These are,
There's two kits. This is older.
okay, okay. So you don't have the yarn. You don't have the yarn for the kit that we're
I
doing
do
for
have
this.
them.
Oh, okay, okay. So why don't we talk about that?
There's gonna be two kits.
Oh, okay, okay. I didn't realize that. From my conversations with them, I thought it was just the one kit. But okay, go ahead. Sorry.
So this is like the original colorway that was gonna be for the original shawl.
Okay, so that's Paris in spring.
There's in spring, and then there is this yellow. I forgot the name of the yellow.
Okay.
And there's this teal.
Okay. So those three are the sort of Paris and spring based color kit. Okay. Perfect.
And the new colorway is a more darker autumn filling because autumn filling for this one.
Okay.
And then I have
So that's Paris in autumn.
Paris in autumn, and then there is this burgundy orange color.
Burnt orange. Okay.
This burnt orange, and then there's this the blue, Tardis blue.
Okay. Okay. So and that the Paris in autumn. Can you hold it up closer to the camera so it's sort of a gray with some blues and purples in it? It looks like. Okay. With some speckles. Excellent. Well, I'll talk to, like I said, I'm going to talk with Duane and Joshua tomorrow, so they can walk us through all the details. But those are the three colors. And then Carrie said she sent you some photos, so I think those may be the ones I've seen. And hopefully we can get those up on Ravelry. But I'll post some pictures as well. Yeah, someone in the chat is saying they love the autumn colors as well. So. Now, was one of those samples that you had, was that in the original color, those first colors, or no?
Yes, this one's in the first color.
Okay, so that's the Paris in spring, the yellow, and then the teal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect, perfect, excellent. So, what else? What else are you? What are you currently making? I guess right now, what are you working on?
Well, I haven't started a sample in the new colors yet, but I was trying to see if I can marl them together.
Uh-huh.
This is the original colors. So I marled like the contrast colors together.
Okay.
With like angle.
It's the same pattern though?
Yeah, it's the same pattern. And I decided to hold mohair with one of them.
Oh wow. Okay. That could be fun. I guess if you held two fingerings together, you would have a similar weight to a DK, and maybe with the mohair you could probably just hold it with the DK. Okay, that's interesting. Are any other different projects that you're currently working on, or?
My twist and turn.
How's that going?
I messaged Steven on Instagram. I was like, if I want my section one to be smaller, what would be the smarter way to have it smaller for how many species? He suggested to do 10 contrast colors stripes for it to be smaller.
Okay.
So I'm gonna do smaller. So.
Gotcha. Well, I like the colors you've chosen. I did not like my colors that I've chosen, which is why I ended up ripping mine out. But yeah, that first section, I think everyone has agreed that first section is a bit of a bear in terms of just how long it takes. How about on the before I let you go? But how about on the design side? Is there anything new on the drawing boards in terms of new designs you're working on?
Not at the moment. I'm trying to finish what I have.
Yeah. So just to recap for everyone then, that the name of the shawl is It's Better, or the It's Better shawl, and it is a DK weight shawl done in 3 colors. Although, yeah, I think you probably would have to do it in 3 colors because it has stripes and the border. The yarn is going to be available from Louisiana Yarn Guys. I'm going to talk with them tomorrow. So join me tomorrow. That is going to be at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. So I'm going to sit down with them. We'll walk through all the yarn again. But yarn kits are going to be available from Louisiana Yarn Guys. And it sounds like 2 different color sets, which I wasn't aware of, but that's awesome. There's sort of a springy one, and then there's a more fall one. So in Tarja colorwork, crochet shawl with some tassels will be available to not tomorrow, day after tomorrow, on the 1st of December on Ravelry. I will post, obviously, I will post in my feed as soon as the link is available. And if anyone is on that did test knits, please get your pictures up so we can see lots of beautiful photos of the finished products. And it's going to be $8, and then a portion of those pattern sales will go to the AIDS Life Cycle. So, Austin, thank you so much for sitting down with me. I'm really excited for this project and to see what everybody comes up with your design.
I know, a year later.
We finally got it done. We finally made it happen. I'm really glad that we did. So have a great rest of your day, and I can't wait to see the pattern when it comes out.
Thanks. You too.
Okay. We are going to sit down here in just a second and chat with Louisiana Yarn Guys, Joshua and Duane, to talk about the yarn that they have put together with Austin from Austin's Crochet Podcast for the Crochetalong project. I see you there. Oh, there they are.
Hey, Gary, hold on just 1 second for me.
No problem. No problem. He has pictures of it there. Hey!
Terrible. Sorry.
There you go. Oh, no worries. No. Listen. Oh, now you're sideways.
Yeah. For some reason, it will not let us do it on the computer, which is what we were planning. So.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you had to.
Had to switch to the
so you
phone.
had to go to the phone. That is totally fine. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I'm really excited to finally meet you. No, not in person, but at least face to face after months and months of chatting back and forth. But I just wanted to give folks a chance to meet you and get to know you. So why don't we start out just kind of how you got into this business? I think you're weavers and knitters before your dyers, or how did it all get started?
So Joshua and I met in 2014, and I moved to Shreveport, and he was already a crocheter. He started crocheting, I think, when he was 10.
A crocheter and a knitter by then.
And I started back to knitting. So my grandmother taught me when I was 15. I only knit for about 6 months, stopped, and then met him and started back.
Sure.
So when I moved here, I became a knitter because of him. So then I got all involved in the knitting community, the fiber community here. And basically I started knitting. I then started teaching knitting classes, started teaching weaving classes, and we had both wanted to dye for the longest time. We had both talked about it, and at the beginning of the pandemic, he had been laid off because of the pandemic, and
from a brand new job at that.
He had been there for 3 weeks, I think.
Oh, jeez Louise.
So he was laid off. We were stuck in the house during the pandemic, and everything was at a standstill. We are not the type of people who like to sit at home.
We're not homebodies at all.
And we were like, we have to do something. So it was the perfect time and the perfect storm to start doing what we wanted to do. So we started dyeing yarn. We decided this is what we're going to do. We have no way to spend the money that we have because we usually do that by going out.
Sure.
So we were home and we started dyeing yarn. We dove headfirst into it.
Okay.
It didn't take long before we were just up to our head in dye and yarn.
Right.
So
Now, did you learn? I mean, because it's funny, it's interesting because several of the folks who have participated in the Knitalongs and Crochetalongs on the dyeing side sort of have a similar story. So there were a lot of, it seems like a lot of indie dyers got their start in the pandemic because either, I know Michelle from Golden Sheep Fiber, she's a musician, and all her orchestra work died off during the pandemic, and so she had wanted to give a shot. Now, did you just teach yourself, or did you go to the YouTube University and?
Lots of Google University. Lots. It was like going back to school.
And
yeah,
we sort of had an idea about how to do it at the beginning. We did have some great friends. One of them that lives here in Shreveport, she is an indie dyer as well, Hewitt Hand Dyes. And we went to talk to her. We, had already started, but we were still getting our feet wet, and we went and talked to her, and we are learning stuff every day.
Sure.
So with dyeing yarn and dyeing fiber, it's, of course, we only dye animal protein.
Okay.
We do not handle cotton, any type of plant fiber, because it is just, it is such a different process that we don't actually have the space for. So when we first got together, dyeing yarn, knitting, weaving, I started working at the yarn shop. Our yarn room, when we started dyeing yarn, became a business room with half our stash yarn and half business yarn.
Okay.
So then we bought a house the beginning of this year, and now we have one complete room that is for the yarn, and then I still use the kitchen to dye.
Okay.
But we started out small. It was, really small. But when we started adding colors, I think we added probably 75% of our colors in the first year.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I still create he went back to work after
2 years ago.
2 years. So I started doing most of the dyeing. And he helps me on the labeling, packaging, marketing.
Sure.
I'm horrible at marketing. I know it needs to get done, but I just don't have enough time in the day.
It's tough to be a two-man shop. Forget about a one-man shop to do the accounting, the finance, the marketing, everything all, and actually make the product.
Right.
So.
But we actually just started doing, I guess, in-person fiber festivals.
Cool.
This year.
Just back in September.
When the pandemic started, our very first year, actually, we did a fiber festival online called Fiber World. And it was awesome. That first year, everybody was stuck at home. Nobody could talk to people, couldn't see people. So that's our first in-person fiber festival was online. And we actually taught classes that year, I believe.
No, the second year we did. We didn't manage to the first year.
So then we did the Texas Fleece and Fiber online. We did, oh goodness.
We did a Vogue Knitting Live.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That was then Texas Fleece and Fiber. So we've gotten our feet wet online. So we had our online store, and then December of 20, we went to Texas to take Joshua's mother to the airport. We had already been dyeing yarn for a year, and we did some cold calling into yarn stores.
Oh wow.
All over Dallas.
All over Dallas. And during the pandemic, a lot of the yarn stores closed nationwide. I mean, just a tremendous amount. But we already had our online store, and we made our first cold call into a yarn shop that just opened. She had the same idea as us, Lone Star Yarn, and it was her first week open. We walked in the door with our product in, like, the carry tubs, like the plastic tubs.
Yeah, yeah.
She said, "Oh, wow. Oh, my goodness." Because we had dyed, just straight in. We both had been dyeing yarn that year all year long.
She realized that morning that she had not stocked any worsted, and that's what we happened to have with us.
Right place, right time.
Exactly. She decided right then to start carrying us.
Yeah.
Okay. So now how many stockists do you guys have currently?
We have two. We just acquired our newest one. It is a new store in New Orleans. It's called Yarnola, Yarnola.
Okay.
She just had her grand opening on the 26th. The soft opening was a little bit before that, but she placed her first order. We got it to her. We got the message 2 days ago that she had sold out of all of it.
Oh my gosh! Congratulations!
So she placed a new order. Yeah, but we started our in-person Fiber Fest at DFW.
Right, I saw you guys there. Yep.
Yeah, we were.
Well, I didn't see you personally. I saw that you were going there.
We were.
It's like, wait a minute. No, we didn't.
We were.
Although Fort Worth is home for me. So
gotcha. We had planned on doing East Texas Fiber Fest first, and they had to delay it. So we didn't know if it was going to happen this year or not. So we went ahead and did DFW Fiber Fest. Very first in person, and wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
It's a large festival.
It's a very large festival. We had a great time. Met some fantastic people, customers and vendors, and the sponsors who set it up. They were all fabulous. I mean, we were just in heaven. Our neighbors at our booth were awesome. I mean, we met some really nice people, and the day we left DFW, we got an email that East Texas was happening in November.
Oh, wow.
So we still had stock left. We did very well at DFW, but we still had stock, so we were like, okay, let's just go ahead and do it. It's only 2 hours from the house.
Sure.
So we did it, November 18th through the 19th.
And where is East Texas held?
It's in Canton, Texas, at the Civic
okay,
Center.
where the big swap meet.
Yes, it's held in the same building. It used to be in Lindale, and it was not a great place for it, so they moved, and it's just fabulous now.
Oh, good.
So we made the decision to go ahead and do it. We went and set up on Thursday. The Fiber Fest was the 18th and 19th. And in the process of that Fiber Fest, we both got the spinning bug. We saw someone with drop spindles. So now and I can crochet a little bit, so now we're knitters, crocheters, I'm a weaver, indie dyers. Yeah. So now
you're all in. You're all in at this point.
Yes. Why not?
Now, do you dye fiber for spinners as well?
Well, the first 2 pounds of merino should be here next week.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Maybe.
Right.
Most likely.
We've already sourced a wholesaler.
Right.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Yeah.
And we enjoy it thoroughly. I mean,
So this is so you guys. So this is what you're heading into, like 4 years in business then, or
Um,
Third year. We started
third year?
early 20.
Okay.
this will be our 4th year, 2023,
That's
right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
look,
fantastic.
I'm just sitting here counting on my fingers.
And time is sort of an abstract concept once
Wow.
the pandemic started. I can't keep track of too much of anything.
Yeah,
Well, let's talk about some yarn.
definitely.
So, and I should tell everyone, you guys can be found at LouisianaYarnGuys.com.
Yep.
Yes.
Is the site, and you have all your colors and a bunch of different bases, which is really cool. And so you and Austin connected somehow before I got involved, and have been working for a while on putting this thing together. So he showed us the shawl yesterday,
Yeah.
but because of some changes around in the colors, we didn't get to see the sample in the actual colorways. So I know there's two sort of kits that we're talking about. So whichever order you want, maybe go through each of the kits. So this is, I should preface, I already said it, but the pattern as written is for DK in 3 different colors. So 3 skeins of DK, one of each color. So what do we got?
So, the first one we started in the spring of last year. I can't even remember how Austin and I started talking about this, but he sent me a picture of Paris in spring. So
Right.
I actually named the colorway Paris in spring. Paris in bloom. I'm sorry, Paris in bloom.
Right.
A lot of pinks, a little bit of mauve, some iris, a little bit of green, and of course the sunny yellow, and then the Eiffel Tower. So
Okay.
this is actually the colorway, and I don't know how well. As you can see,
Yeah,
it has some purples.
Yep.
It's a little speckled with some iris. And then on the other side, it has some natural, like, straw color.
Okay.
Then you can see it's pretty there. So,
Yeah.
and it's heavily dyed in some spots and speckled in others. And I have still adjusted it to this day and like I said, during the dyeing process, you learn a lot and you continue to learn. So we just figured out from another dyer at the middle of this year, maybe a little bit before that, how to get speckles to stick to yarn instead of spreading when you put it on in the pan. So figured that out, and now we have a lot of heavily speckled.
Okay.
And it actually shows up a lot better.
Okay,
so
cool.
This is the Paris in bloom. And then, and the only tiger yellow that I could find that I had dyed was in sparkle. So we have a Treme Shimmer DK. All of these colors are available on all of our bases, just like all of our other colorways. So you could even do this in the shimmer, which is Selena.
Yep.
And it gives you a little sparkle.
I think I had not this color, but I think I had a skein of your shimmer yarn earlier this year.
Yes, I love the shimmer. We do have a Highland shimmer fingering. It's Lurex in it, but this is Selena, and it shows up very well. So you have a mix of the Paris in bloom,
tiger yellow,
the tiger yellow. And then at first we had started it with a storm cloud gray, which is a light gray. But we changed that a little bit and went with Tardis blue.
That particular scheme looks purple on camera, but
yeah. And
Okay.
it is actually like a blue, but it has a little bit of a hint of violet.
Okay.
So it made a really pretty colorway and
Mm-hmm.
set of colors there.
Okay. Perfect.
And
Very
it brings
spring.
out,
I can see the spring coming through.
yeah. And so you have the other colors that just set off.
Mm-hmm.
Like the yellow. It's hard to see in this little phone. I'm so sorry.
Oh, no, don't worry about it.
So, and then after that, it carried over into the later part of the year, and Austin was talking about it yesterday, with the second pattern. So it was going to be late fall, and I
Sure.
decided to, he sent me another picture of an idea of what he had of color-wise, and I created a new colorway for that one. It's called Paris in Autumn.
Okay.
And it
Oh,
is
yeah.
grays, blues, a little bit of burnt orange there.
Uh-huh.
And
Uh-huh.
it shows through, but when you open it, it is almost the polar opposite of Paris in Bloom, because you have
Okay.
the grays, the blues, the orange, and a little bit of
A
purple,
little moodier, maybe.
definitely. And then the orange speckles there. So
Mhm.
turned out really pretty, and then a darker blue in it.
Okay.
So with this one, we were looking for colors that would pop and bring out
Mhm.
the colors in this. So Austin suggested an orange and we had talked about it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, with those orange speckles. Yeah,
Yeah.
perfect. Yeah.
And there's a little bit of orange streak. And then the third colorway added in was a Lissa blue. So
Lissa blue. Okay.
Lissa blue is, and I don't know if you can tell here,
Yeah.
but it is actually not a blue. This is a yarn that it plays tricks with your eyes. Under one light,
Okay.
it's blue.
Uh-huh.
Under another light, it's green. It
Okay.
is actually, I do it a different way than, a lot. I have it, and I dye it where the blue is first with some green, but then I add an overlay of green. So
Okay.
it really shows off that color. And you can actually see it, like right
Yeah.
here, it shows a little bit of the green mixed with the orange.
I say coming through relative to the other blue, it's coming through more on the teal
Yep.
side of things.
Yeah, definitely. So
Mm.
then you have the mix, and of course it's hard to see it here. I'm trying to.
Sure. This is always the challenge when we're doing yarn stuff online, is to try to get to get everything in the same. Yeah. No, I can definitely see how those all play together really nicely with the speckles.
So it turned out really well, and we were very happy with it. So the Paris in Bloom has been available on our website, and
Okay.
it has actually become one of our top sellers.
Oh wow, that's fantastic.
People have loved that colorway. At DFW and East Texas, the Paris in Autumn became a good seller as well.
Oh, good.
It is a great fall color, and mixed with the orange and the blue, it just sets everything off perfectly. With the first colorway, the Paris in Bloom,
Yes.
the springier colors, there are several other colors you could add into that, but Austin used the yellow and the Tardis blue. So
Okay. Well, and one of the things that I always say is that we welcome and encourage stash diving. Of course, part of my whole effort here is to get people to know and meet new dyers and designers, and to help promote their business. And obviously, the more yarn we sell, the better it is for fundraising, etc. But mix and match to your heart's desire. So I'll just to recap. So the first sort of more springy colorways are Paris and Bloom, Tiger Yellow, Tardis Blue.
Yes.
And then the more for autumnal is Paris and Autumn, Burnt Orange, and the Lissa Blue.
Yes.
Perfect. And as you said, those are available on all your bases. So if people have other projects, definitely jump in there. But for this the DK, and I guess if you want to get fancy and do it all with sparkle, or pick one of the colors and do it with a little sparkle, you could jazz it up that way and head out to the disco with it.
Most definitely.
So all of this, so then all of these, the colorways, both sets are all available currently on your website.
Yes.
What sort of lead time should folks expect in terms of, so if we want to, cast on is on the 1st of the year, January 1, how much time do you need to get folks their yarn in order to cast on?
I would need at least 2 weeks in advance.
Okay.
Because I do have another order for the wholesale order, but I have some leeway with that, so I can get it out, but about 2 weeks. And we are running a sale right now, so all of our yarn on our website is actually 20% off through the end of the year.
With a $50 purchase.
With a $50 purchase. And then for the DK yarn to go with this project, you can use code GKGR20. Gary Knits, Gary Rides 20.
Awesome. I'll definitely, when I post this, I put that in the I should have pinned that comment, but
there we go.
That'll extend that 20% through the middle of February for the DK.
Oh wow! Oh, fantastic. Okay, so 2 weeks. So basically, if people get your orders in the next couple weeks, you'll have time to get it out to them well in advance of holiday rush and all that stuff. So
sure.
As I always say with these order, it's great to help the dyers with their dye schedules. If you know you're going to order yarn, to get it in earlier rather than later, because it just helps you guys plan your next few weeks.
Most definitely. Oh yeah.
And so I'm sorry, who was it? It was NJ Artist. So it's Paris in Bloom, BLLOM, not Paris in Blue.
Right.
So that's what she said. She couldn't find it on the website. So Paris in Bloom, and I will. I'm going to save this video. Also, I should let everyone know. I'm going to once I get all the interviews done with everybody, I'm going to compile them all into one video and post that up on my YouTube channel as well, so folks can go watch those at their leisure if they missed any part of this. So basically, people will need to go and find each of the colors, because they're not kits all put up together on the website. Just find each of the colors, put those in your basket. The 20% off is automatic through the end of the month, and then if you want to use the code, if you're ordering later than that as well. So
sure. Yes.
And if you have trouble finding it, there is a contact link on the website. Send us a message and we'll help out.
Okay, and likewise, if anyone's having any issues, just shoot me a DM, and I've been through the website enough now that I feel like I could probably be your customer service guy. But I can help you find the and I'll list anything you see from me, from the FAQ in my bio to any show notes in YouTube, is going to have all of the color names listed in there. So with I guess we should talk about the pricing, but with the 20%, I think I saw that works out to like $20.99 a skein, roughly.
That's before the discount, yes.
Oh, that's before the discount.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So 20% after that.
It comes to 50 something for all three with the discount.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't have the number in my head, but
I think I think you sent me that in a DM, and I'll make sure that gets in there as well. That is fantastic. What is anything planned for the new year in terms of either events you're working on, or how often do you come up with new colors?
I usually create new colorways about once a month. I'll do 2 or 3.
Okay.
And I think we have right around 90 colorways now.
Oh, wow.
We may be approaching 100 at this point.
Yeah, because I still have a couple that I don't have on the site yet that I'm still playing with, and still some ideas to come. So when I dye yarn, I have a totally different dyeing method than Joshua.
Well, Joshua doesn't really dye anymore. So.
Yeah, with him working full time, I dye most of the yarn now, but I am a very abstract dyer.
Okay.
Yarn is a canvas, and I love to paint. I have lots of different inspirations. Some of our colorways are made after friends of ours. Like, we have one that's called Fancy Nancy. It's an orange.
Well, Lissa Blue is
Lissa
named
Blue.
after Melissa, who may be watching at the moment.
Yeah, and it's her favorite color, and Fancy Nancy's orange is her favorite color. So then we have, oh goodness, one of them is one of my main inspirations. I'm an avid gardener. I love to garden flowers, not vegetables. Have no desire to do that. Did that growing up. So all of my...
there's Melissa now. Melissa's in the chat. Yes. Honeybee Lily.
Yes. But the colors that we have, the inspiration comes from everywhere. Sunsets, daylilies, roses. It just, there's one called Fuchsia Dreams. Fuchsia Dreams is after one of our daylilies that I plant, and it's just absolutely beautiful. So, but then there is like the Magenta Nights,
which Melissa insists on calling Magenta Malarkey.
Joshua insists on calling it red. So, yeah.
There's a long story there.
It was a running joke for our longest time, but we have lots of different colors and lots of different inspirations. Sunsets.
And we're open to custom colorways. If you don't see what you need for a project, Duane can work with you and try to come up with something. It would hardly be the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fantastic.
2 of our other colorways that are just the best colorways that are in our store there is Nebula and Deep Sea. Nebula and Deep Sea.
Deep Sea, okay.
Nebula is, of course, stars, the nebula galaxies. So Deep Sea is some very deep dark blues with purples, a little bit of green. So you will see a lot of purple in our colorways. I love purple.
I love purple too, so I get it.
Yeah. I have to control myself sometimes. Just like, otherwise it would be purples
everything. I joke, people who have watched my videos for all know, like, I love, like, blue, I wear a lot of navy blue, and I don't think I've ever passed up a skein of navy blue yarn, because every time I see one, I'm like, oh, I could make another hat out of that, and it's just, I lay it all out, and I'm like, well, I honestly do not need another skein of navy blue yarn.
Right.
Any plans? Hey, Sunny. Any plans for in 23 in terms of additional shows to go to, or?
We will definitely be doing
DFW in East Texas for sure. Beyond that, we're not sure yet. Maybe Houston. I am really excited about that one. We've spoken with Allison at DFW, and we saw her at East Texas. She is the new president of the DFW show board.
So she was there at East Texas, and she said, yes, you need to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, it is. And
Yeah.
so that is one of the things. And then we met some great vendors, like I said, at DFW and East Texas. A lot of the vendors we met at DFW were at East Texas, and we all had a blast.
Right.
So a lot of them live in Texas, and two of our favorites, Bashful Armadillo.
Oh, I know Bashful Armadillo, sure.
Love Tammy.
She was our next door neighbor at DFW.
Yeah.
Oh.
She is so sweet. And then Mary, I can't remember her last name.
She's Butterfly Girl Designs.
There we go.
She's the one that sucked us into spinning.
Yes. So at East Texas, we were walking around, and I was walking around looking, and then Melissa, of course, when she helped us set up at East Texas, Mary was already setting up her booth, and Butterfly Girl Designs, she had some beautiful yarn bats, fiber bats. Melissa saw it, she pointed it out to me, and I was like, oh my God, gotta have it. So, didn't know if I was gonna ever spin it or not to begin with.
Right.
I just knew I had to have it. Then I saw she had little spindles that were absolutely beautiful. So we met some really great people, learned some really great things, and a lot of them are going to be at Houston. So,
oh, okay. So you have a built-in kind of little network already, on the ground there when you get there.
Yeah.
It's been really. I went to my very first ever fiber festival this last March in Sacramento.
Oh my goodness.
And and it was, and they, and someone had made the comment in the thing that, this year Dallas was smaller than usual, and they said the same thing about the stitches in Sacramento, and that it was smaller than it used to be. But I was like, well, it was plenty of things for me to spend my money on.
Right.
I didn't need more. I didn't need more vendors.
Totally.
But it was cool, and I took some classes, and it was like just a real. I mean, it was just at that point, it was just great to be able to like be out with people after 2.5 years of being hunkered down in the house.
Exactly.
So,
Yes. So,
yeah.
Gary, do you know the devious knitter, Amy Snell?
I don't.
She taught at Stitches SoCal.
She's
Okay.
Coach Cal. Look her up. She's the devious knitter.
Amy Snell.
Yes.
It's so funny. It's funny you mentioned. I do not know her, but I was just looking at next year's Stitches SoCal schedule, and two of the classes that I was interested in taking were her classes.
She's
awesome.
Great instructor.
Okay.
She is a pattern writer. She's an instructor. She is just so awesome.
Yeah. One of the classes was on adapting patterns and things like that. Things that I'm too terrified to do, and so I thought it would be good to sort of have my hand held a little bit in doing that. Melissa's asking if I've been to Dixon to Lambtown. No, I didn't. I mean, because we're Sacramento is like a 7-hour drive for me. So I did make the drive, but I couldn't get back up there for Lambtown, which is later, either late summer or fall. So, but I have a couple of my Northern California yarn buddies were vendors there and stuff. So it's one of these days, I can't get to all.
No, definitely not. And we do want to expand to do some more fiber festivals.
As soon as I can find a way to quit my job.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't drive, so he has to drive me. And help me set up and help me work the booth. There's no way I can do it by myself. And eventually we would love to do something like Rhinebeck, but that's way down the list there. Yeah.
It's tough. I mean, it's making that jump, from really small batch, knit dyed order to make the jump to wholesale, to be able to do that thing is one thing, and then to make the next jump to being able to, go to several of these yarn shows a year. It's just it takes a lot, and
Definitely.
I all the credit to all these small businesses in this industry, because it's all 1-2 person kind of operations, and the amount of volume that y'all are able to get done with just 2 folks is pretty remarkable in my book, and gives me, again, way too many options for me to be spending my money on. Certainly faster than I can get projects off the needles.
It's funny.
Yeah,
2 totally separate hobbies. 2 totally separate hobbies.
I totally. Well, I mean, part of it, I before I was talking about the D-Stash for, maybe it wasn't, that was on my YouTube, but I run this D-Stash auction as another fundraising thing, and part of it was like, okay, I've got too much yarn. Like, how can I use this to do something? And so we've done 2 of those, and that's been really, really fun as well. But that does help me sort of cull the herd a little bit each quarter. So I really, really appreciate everything that you guys have done for, working with Austin on coming up with these amazing colors. I can't wait to see these things come to life in the design, and as folks start to make them. I hope you'll tune in for the as people start posting pictures and things like that, and we'll try. I'll make sure I tag you guys and everything, just so you
Awesome.
they come across your feed. But I appreciate you sitting down today and showing off your beautiful yarn.
Thank
and
you.
I can't wait to get some of myself and put it to work. But I will save this. I will post all the information for everyone, and then Saturday morning, probably at the latest, all of these videos will be compiled and put up on YouTube for posterity, so that people can find everything there. And if anyone has any questions, reach out to either of us, and we'll help you get your yarn. Is there anything I forgot to mention that you guys wanted to cover?
I think we're covered.
I think that's it.
Okay. Great. Well, I appreciate. Oh, go ahead.
Definitely. You're in Texas, in the Dallas area. In Bedford, it's Lone Star Yarn, and in New Orleans, it's Yarnola.
Okay.
Both of the stores have websites as well. They both carry different lines of buyers, so we have 11 different bases. There's too many to list. Go online and look at them on our store. It's LouisianaYarnGuys.com.
Perfect.
And
I'll post the links to Lone Star and to Yarnola in the thing as well, so that folks can find them on Instagram, and then go to their websites if they're local. It's funny that Lone Star's in Bedford. I saw that when you guys were doing a trunk show or something there, because my sister, she doesn't live there anymore, but she used to live right there in the mid cities, and as did my mom and dad. So I was there for the last 20 years. I've been right there in that area. So had I known, although
we will be back. We're actually doing the Dallas Yarn Crawl in April. So
fun.
We will be at Lone Star Yarn and at
possibly a couple of more that weekend.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So that's another thing. I totally forgot about that. How could I? But so we have some stuff coming up. We're really interested and excited for it. It's so good to talk to you, Gary. Thank you.
Yeah, great to finally come face to face, and congratulations on all your growth and success. That's really, it's an amazing story, and I really appreciate everything you're doing for me on the Knitalong Crochet alongside. So I can't wait to get my yarn. I will post all this for everyone, and have a great rest of your evening. I really appreciate it.
You too.
I would like to introduce everyone to the designer and dyer of Oh my gosh, something happened. There we go. The Dyer for the winter 2023 edition of the End AIDS Knitalong and Crochetalong, and that is Maggie from Yarnaceous Fibers, who I have a picture. There's I have a picture of her dog crate.
Yes, a Rex.
Hey, Rex. Aw, that's very appropriate. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm okay. Sounds like it's been a week.
It has been.
No rest of the week. I was going to say, if James Brown is the hardest working man in show business, you are the hardest working woman in the yarn business, because every time I turn around, there is not only, obviously, you're a dyer and a designer, because we're going to talk about both those things, but you've got projects in terms of kits and shows and things like that. You've been super busy this year. Did you guys have a nice Thanksgiving?
Yes, it was lovely.
Yeah.
We had everyone over and it all went well. So yeah, that's all you can ask for.
Have you guys had snow yet?
We had a dusting on Saturday, but it's gone.
Okay. Well, it still kind of gets you in the spirit a little bit.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for taking some time. I know you're a busy mom with lots of things going on, and yarn business during the holidays is crazy. So I appreciate you sitting down for a few minutes to talk about what we've been hatching over the last, feels like a year now. So you are going to have a pattern that is going to be available for the Knitalong. And so why don't you just, well, before we even get started, I always like to get people's sort of fiber backstory. When did you start knitting, crocheting, whatever craft that got you into this? And then when did you start on the designing and dyeing end of things?
So I started when I was like, I would say 5 or 6 crocheting. My grandma would give us a ball of yarn and a crochet hook, and we would sit and chain.
Okay.
And that's how I essentially got started with it. And then when I was about 11, I decided to crochet her a teddy bear. So that was my first like actual project, with this cute little crochet teddy bear. Oh, wow. And at 16, my twin sister and I decided we wanted to learn how to knit, because we hadn't learned that yet. And so the two of us went and bought yarn and needles and began knitting.
Okay.
So that was essentially my like crochet knitting journey, like how it started.
Yeah.
And dyeing wise, I started dyeing in my early 20s. I had Angora bunnies, English Angoras.
Oh, wow.
And so I was raising those, and I was using their wool and dyeing their wool. And then I jumped into yarn with another sister, and we were dyeing yarn together.
Okay.
And that kind of fell away. And back 3.5, 4 years ago, I decided to start Yarnaceous Fibers.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Excellent. And then were you designing before you started dyeing, or did that kind of come with the, I've got so much yarn now, I better start coming up with projects to use my yarn in?
Initially, and it's kind of funny, I started knitting or designing watching the Twilight movies.
Oh, okay.
Because Bella had this like patchwork scarf, so that was one of my first like big knits where I sat and broke down the entire scarf and knitted it.
Oh, wow.
And then I was a member of the Fat Fiber box. Okay. And so that's like a monthly box you can go buy with samples, mini skeins of fiber or yarn or whatnot. And it's, I want to say like $40 a month, and it's just 20 to 40 different samples from different dyers. Oh. And so I was participating in that and doing patterns or yarn.
Okay. Oh, cool. I never, it's called Fat Fibers, or?
Yep. PHAT.
Okay. Oh, cool. I've never heard about that. That's really, and they just send you like mini skeins, not full skeins of yarn, but mini skeins to sort of see what other dyers are, or what dyers are up to. Oh, that's cool.
Yep. And then they'll have like patterns from various designers, and it's just a fun box for samples.
Yeah. Excellent. Okay. So Yarnaceous, you said 2 or 3 years ago you started Yarnaceous Fibers?
I did.
Okay. And for those of you from my end who are not following Maggie, I don't know what you're doing with your lives, but you should be following Maggie. But most, I won't say everything, but a lot of what you do is dinosaur themed. So the Yarnaceous name ties in there. Where did the
dinosaur interest, obsession? Where did that come from?
Definitely Land Before Time, and then Jurassic Park.
Okay.
So I'm a 90s child. Well, I was born in the 80s, but you start watching all that stuff in the 90s, and that's where it came from.
Okay. Now, has that passed on to your kids? Are they like dinosaur crazy as well, or?
Yes. Danny is kind of into dinosaurs, not as much as Peter. Peter loves dinosaurs. Like, he has the Jurassic World Advent calendar. So every day he gets a dinosaur, and he just loves them.
So I feel like I missed that, or it hadn't quite, like, the dinosaur Renaissance thing had not really. Jurassic Park had not come. I mean, I'm way older than you. Had not come out, and Land Before Time, I was already probably in college or whatever. So, but I feel like that my generation kind of missed out on the sort of obsession with dinosaurs. But it's been as I've seen friends of mine have kids, and like every kid seems to kind of go through this period where they're really into the dinosaurs and can tell you every esoteric detail about each one, and heaven forbid you get you misidentify a brontosaurus as something something else that kind of completely
right. How dare you call an apatosaurus a brontosaurus?
Exactly. They will completely school you in what the correct designation of those dinosaurs are. Well, that's really cool, and I mean, and your stuff is so fun, and just all of the naming and the different kits and everything that you put together, tying everything in with the dinosaur theme is really fun. But let's talk about your pattern.
Yes.
So you have designed a shawl for the knitters this time, and it is fingering weight.
Yes.
But why don't you tell us about the design and any inspiration or whatever, where it came from, and what we should be looking for?
Okay, so I'm currently working on it. It should be to my tech editor next week.
Okay.
As long as my kids are okay. So here is a preview of it.
Ooh.
So it is a Greige Rainbow.
Okay.
And I'm doing everything simple. So it's going to be an easy knit in not December, but January, where it's 2 to 4 row repeats. Every pattern is 2 to 4 stitch count repeats.
Okay.
So it will be a mindless project that you can go ahead and cast on and have fun with.
Love it.
I am doing mine in order of yellow because yellow is my favorite.
Okay.
And ending with green, which is my second favorite. So you can kind of just choose your own
adventure.
Way. Yes, choose your own adventure. I'm to the deep red, you can see in there.
Ooh, that's pretty.
So each kit will be 2 full skeins of this Greige.
Okay.
Tried to get the best lighting I could.
That's fine.
And then you'll get a mini set.
Oh, I love those.
6 colors. You can see how they
those are really
line
cool.
up.
Very cool. We love a muted rainbow around here. We did a couple of the projects we did last year, or I had that sort of same kind of softer rainbow, not the super bright colors. So I think that it works well with so many different things. So it's really cool. So it's 2 skeins of the 200 gram skeins, and this is all fingering weight. I think I said that, but I'll just reiterate. Yep. And then 6 are those 20 gram minis?
Yep, they are 20 gram minis.
Okay.
And so with it too, like the kit will include the pattern, but also I've done it to where, like, if you wanted, you could stash bust because the contrast will be under 100 grams. So
okay,
you could go ahead and get 2 full skeins of a main color and then 1 full skein for your contrast.
I see. So you're gonna have a little bit extra left of the mini, because I was like, that's 120 grams. So but you're gonna have more than 20 grams left over from the mini. So if you wanted to do just a 2 color version, just grab 2 main color skeins and then a skein of a contrast color, and you could just use that through as the repeat.
Yes.
Gotcha. Oh, that's great. And then, I mean, obviously you could, if you were stash diving, I mean, you could, with all the advent kits that are coming in everyone's mailboxes now, if you end up with a few extra minis of fingering weight yarn, you could create your own fade or anything like that.
Exactly.
Excellent. So, so Is it going to be a triangular shawl? I mean, I that's what I was kind of seeing. Is it going to be a triangle coming down to a point where the okay?
So there's like the half. However, with how I'm doing it, one side is going to be shorter, so it's asymmetrical.
Asymmetrical. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
And so I'll reach a certain point, and this side will not grow anymore, and then the one side will continue to grow.
Continue to grow. Okay, excellent. And then are you expecting that you'll have much of the main color left over?
I would say about 50% of it, so 50 grams.
Okay, so half of one of the skeins.
Mm-hmm. So enough to do like a pair of socks with minis. Or
there you go. That would be fun. People love. We're doing a sock Knitalong, but people love to have a sock pattern to use up those extras. Oh, that's very exciting. So the pattern is going to tech editing, and I know you're going to have it tested as well. So the plan is then to have that ready to release just right at the cast on date.
Yep, just January 1st. So in 31 days.
31 days. I know. Oh gosh, the clock is ticking. And then the kits you're going. So you said that included in the price of the kit. Oh yeah, my sister is. Carol is asking, what's the yarn base?
Ooh yeah. So it's Salta fingering.
Okay.
And it is 85% superwash merino and 15% nylon.
Okay.
It's 437 yards per 100 gram skein.
Oh, okay. Oh, so that's a big put up.
Yep.
Seems generous for 100 grams.
Yeah, and then it is going to be on US size 6 needles.
6 needles. Okay.
Yes.
And then someone is asking what the name. I forgot to mention or ask you what the name of the shawl is.
Oh my gosh.
Reconstructed?
Yes, Reconstructed.
Now, does the name have any particular significance, or is it?
So I was thinking with it, like, because everybody, wants you to fall into this straight line of what they want. And so it kind of starts with lines going horizontally, and then they're interrupted by vertical.
Gotcha.
So it's Reconstructed.
Okay. Very cool. I love an asymmetrical triangle. So I'm really looking forward to it. And I love that, especially for this particular Knitalong, which is coming right after everyone's crazy, hectic holidays, to have, an easy sort of like take a breath, relax a little bit, snuggle up with something for the cold winter, and have something pretty easy to chill out with and knit on is really great. Yeah. I know I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to having some relaxing knits heading into the new year, because I feel like I'm like under the gun right now to get things finished for the holidays and get things done. So I think it's great to have that as something to work on in the new year. Yeah. In terms of so the kits you're going to put. So you said that the pattern, or there's going to be a code in the kit for a Ravelry download of the pattern. The kits are going to go on sale or be available on your website
next week. So December 8th.
December 8th. Okay. I will make sure to have it when they go live, have a post and make sure that everyone knows that they're happening. And the price is
$98. And so that's for the 2 skeins and 6 minis.
Okay. And the
pattern.
And the pattern. Okay. So $98 for everything. That's fantastic. And in terms of lead time for folks to get it in time to get the yarn in time for pattern release day and cast on day, what's a good ballpark in terms of last day to kind of get those in?
So for this kit, I'm going to have about 12 kits available for ready to ship, ready to go.
Awesome.
And then I will list extras for pre-order to ship by the 20th of December.
Okay.
So if you're in the US, you should be able to get it easily before cast on date. Okay,
great. So yeah, Carol was just asking in pre-order. So Carol, it seems like there's going to be a handful of kits available day one for ready to ship. And then after those are gone, it will operate as a pre-order. But definitely get your as I always say with all of the dyers, please help them out and get your orders in early rather than later, because it helps them plan out their dye schedules, and they've got other things going on, wholesale orders and things like that to try to work around. So if you can get your, if you definitely know you want to get one of the kits, help them out and get the orders in earlier rather than later, but definitely by the 20th or a little bit before the 20th, because that's when it's going to need to ship to make sure in the US that it gets to you with postal services, nuts during the holidays as well. So I don't want to, and I don't want to leave anyone hanging cast on day, but at the same time, one of the reasons why we always make these things 2 months long is so that you do not feel the pressure to cast on and get going absolutely, on day one. If your yarn comes a couple of days late, it's no big deal. You're gonna have plenty of time to finish this, finish it up before the end of the event. One question, Alex is saying, do you ship to the UK?
I do ship to the UK. Message me, because ever since they put in Brexit, I have not gotten a single order. So I'm wondering if there's something wrong with that. So it's been a while.
I mean, I'm not a business, but I mean, when I have shipped things to the UK, I've had a lot of problems shipping things overseas recently, but to the UK, things have seemed to be okay recently. I've still been, people have gotten their giveaway prizes and stuff in the UK. Ireland, and Portugal, no, but other places as well. Someone's asking to see the minis again. Okay. Those are so good. I love those colors. I love that you can tell it's a rainbow, but it's not just like, it's not like the standard sort of rainbow.
Yeah, because you could easily mix it up just for something different, however you want to do it.
Does the gray color have a name? Is that one of your standard colors, or is it a
special? It is a new color, and I haven't officially named it yet. I was thinking maybe Greige something. So have the main color be Greige, and haven't decided on the mini set name yet.
Okay.
So maybe Greige Bow.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Carol is asking, how much? We talked about that. I don't. How much was going to AIDS life cycle from the kit sales? And I had that in. I can go back and look at my notes. I have it written down somewhere.
Okay.
I'll let folks. Carol. I'll let you know. I have it written in my notes from a previous conversation with Maggie, but I don't know right off the top of my head.
I know I have to look back too, but I want to say it's $4 for every pattern, and then the kit was 30%.
Okay. I'll double check that. I feel like it was maybe $3 for the pattern, but I'll confirm it all. I'll confirm it all, but I think that sounds about right. In the post for when the kits go live, I'll make sure everyone knows exactly how much of it is going to fund my AIDS life cycle. That's really exciting. I love it. I'm excited to make mine. Graybosaurus is what.
Right.
That's a good one.
I like that.
Graybosaurus. What else? Just to talk about what's going on at Yarnaceous and things that you've got going on either currently. I know you just had a big sale that I participated in, and from mini skeins, and you've been running some specials coming off of the Thanksgiving holiday. But what else do you have going on at the website and around shows and things like that you're working on?
So if you're in Utah, tomorrow I will be at Craft Lake City, which is up at Union Station in Ogden, Utah. And that runs from 5 to 10, and then it's Saturday as well from 10 to 5.
Oh, cool.
So I'll be doing that. And then next month in January, on the 14th, I will be in Montgomery, Texas for a trunk show.
Oh, wow.
At the Modern Skein.
Very, very cool. Where's Montgomery? I mean, I grew up in Texas. I've never even heard of it.
North of Houston.
North of Houston.
So I fly into George Bush International.
Oh, you fly into Houston. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool. That's fantastic. And then I don't know what if you have anything there right around you, if you only had the skeins, but I'm obsessed with your new sock sets. I forgot to say bring other stuff to show. I don't know if you have any there, but if you don't,
I have them like around the corner.
Oh. That's okay. You can grab them if you want to. If you want to show them off. If not, I will just send everyone to your website. Maggie's been putting out almost every day it seems like a new one's come out.
They're all available. I'm just posting kind of like in reverse. So I listed them all on Monday, and then I've been sharing one a day.
They are so good.
Thank you.
The colors are so pretty, and I wish I were a bigger sock knitter. I struggle to. I'm going to do it because for the sock Knitalong this time, I'm definitely, because there's a worsted weight pattern, and I feel like if I could just get a worsted weight sock pattern done and then have the company. Now I did do one in June last year for the Knitalong then, but I'm not one of these people that like always has a set of socks on the needles, and I kind of wish I were because they're so portable and easy to do. Speaking of socks and sock yarn, there's Laura from Always Be Kind Yarn. What else are you working on? Anything design-wise for the new year?
So last year I came out with, this last year I came out with a Meg's Ate My Goldfish for the Megalodon. And so I'm going to be knitting a sock pattern with those two.
Oh, cool.
To release for Shark Week next year. So that one will be fun because I just love that sock set. It's like this blend of blues, and then the mini is a bright orange goldfish color.
Right. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And yarn-wise, I mean, I know you just released a new collection not too long ago. Fossil
Finders.
Right.
Yep.
And anything particular special about those relative to past yarns, or?
So I used to have a collection that was Fantastic Dinos and Where to Find Them, but due to some controversy, I didn't feel good calling it that anymore.
Okay.
So I changed it to the Fossil Finders, and it's pretty much a location where you can go find fossils, whether it's dinosaurs or any kind of fossil, really, Cretaceous.
Okay.
One of the colors is after the Joggins Fossil Cliffs, which is just a location up in Canada where they were able to determine over time, and it was a short period of time where Canada was a rainforest because of the fossils they found. So it's just a fun collection where you can learn about an area and also the fossils in that area.
Oh, cool. Excellent. Yeah. And then how many times a year do you schedule out like new collections to come out, or is it just kind of as the inspiration hits you and the time is available?
Yeah, kind of as the inspiration hits. Next year I'm going to try and be a little more structured. So like in January, I'm going to do a pre-order for my Jurassic World colorways from our club this year, where it was based off of the first Jurassic World movie. And then next in like March, I'll do my Paleobotany Club and do a pre-order. And after that, I'm going to come out with a couple of other collections.
Okay. Very cool. Excellent.
Yeah, I'm going to have like In the Sky, so a pterodactyl-ish themed collection in June I'm going to Stockinette Zombies, which is a fun retreat in Minnesota.
Right. You went there this year, or this is your second year or third year?
I did. Right? Yeah, so this will be my second year.
Okay. And so the pterodactyl thing is for Stockinette Zombies?
Yep.
Excellent. And now I know, I'm getting a little off topic, but I know this year you went to Woolen Folk in New York.
I did.
How was that? And are you going to plan to do that again next year?
Yes, I'm definitely applying for it for next year. It was so much fun. Like, I watched your video yesterday and how you were talking about how Stitches SoCal was.
Yeah.
Or Stitches West.
Yes,
back in March where we met.
Yes.
And like, it seemed big. There were a lot of people there, but going to just Woolen Folk, it was just this continuous stream. Like my booth always had people at it, which I didn't see that at Stitches West. And then
yeah, you're right. I think there were a couple booths where there was one where they were like selling stuff for like 70% off, and that one was always mobbed. But I didn't see that like constant like flow of folks. So you were just swamped all day long.
Exactly. And then like the New York Sheep and Wool Festival, it was just like masses of people. It was crazy. So
yeah, I'm looking forward to. It's on my calendar. I'm planning to go next year. I need to start a sweater so that I have a sweater for Rhinebeck. And it's going to take me a whole year to do it, so I need to start now. But I'm hoping to. My sister lives in Maryland, and I'm hoping to get to Maryland Sheep and Wool, which is in the spring, and just kind of, and it's also huge. I think it's the second biggest after Rhinebeck. So that'll give me a little bit of a taste of how overwhelming it is. Because yeah, Stitches West was it was the first one I'd ever been to, and it was by far, you know, bigger than the Stitches SoCal a couple weeks ago out here. So I'm looking forward to, hopefully, you know, knock on wood, nothing changes and we're still able to travel and all that stuff. So
yes, and then too, like Jess of La Mercier started a Flock Fiber Festival in Seattle, Washington. So that's in August this year. So that's kind of on your side of the country as well, and I'll be vending at that. So
cool. And I occasionally have to go for work to a few times a year to Seattle. Maybe it'll tie in timing wise, and I can get someone else to pay for the.
I need to come up to work in August, the first week,
just
preferably.
specifically on this weekend, I need to be there. So if I could just have a meeting either Friday or Monday, that would be awesome.
Exactly.
That's how when my husband and I first started going out, we were living on opposite coasts, and I had reasons to be in California for work often, and I would like always try to time them around a weekend so I could fly out for a long weekend and then, you know, fly back on the red eye on Sunday. So it's not a new scam for
right. It's perfect when you fly for work.
yeah no, it definitely helps to, yeah, it's a great perk. Business travel can stink for any number of reasons if you have to do too much of it, but occasionally it pays some benefits as well. So all right, I want to let you go because I know you have kids and things to get done today, but I just want to recap for everyone. The Reconstructed shawl from Maggie at Yarnaceous Fibers is going to be released on Cast On Day on January 1st. It is the kits, however, which are two skeins of fingering weight main color in her Salta fingering base, which is 8515,
Yes.
and then 6 20-gram minis in a muted rainbow, I will say. I don't know how else to describe them for the contrasting colors, but you could also do, as you mentioned, a two color version with 3 skeins of fingering weight. That kit is going to become available on the 8th next week, $98, including a code for the pattern, and some will be available ready to ship, and then after that will become a pre-order. Make sure you get them in by ahead of the 20th, so you can get them in time for Cast On Day. And anything else? Am I forgetting anything?
I don't think so.
Okay. Check out Maggie's website, yarnaciousfibers.fibers or fiber?
Fibers.
Yarnaciousfibers.com. She has a lot of amazing stuff. Please go check out her sock sets that she just put up. They're so pretty. It just makes me want to go knit socks. And yeah, thanks everyone for joining, and thank you for putting this together. I'm really excited to have this project as part of the Knitalong.
Me too.
Absolutely. All right. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you, everyone. Talk to you later. Bye.
We are here today to talk about socks. Let me bring in, we are doing a sock knit-along, which we did in June last year at two great delight of sock knitters. And so we thought we would try it again for the winter. And we have a hello.
Hi.
Did you get your? I've got two. There we go. We're gonna do three. It's always always fun technology wise. But joining me this evening, depending on where you are,
we have Joanne of Snowy Thistle Knits, and my friend Laura from Always Be Kind Yarn, who veteran Ind-Aids Knitalong sock knitters will recognize from last year's pattern and sock for the Rainbow Halen sock that we did for the Pride Knitalong. But I'm super excited to have a sock to offer for the winter, just because I think knitting socks is a sort of very cozy thing to be doing at this time of year. And we have both a fingering weight sock, which I think most people are familiar with, but then also for the very footed people out there, we have a worsted weight sock, which I think is what I'm going to do, because I like the sort of instant gratification of having a very quick project.
It's
and
fast.
I'm not a super proficient sock knitter, so I think this will help sort of boost my confidence in that realm. So why don't we, let's see, we'll start on the pattern side. So, or maybe we'll go back and forth, and we'll just maybe do just introduce yourself. And I know Joanne is coming from Nova Scotia now, but has a long journey to get to Nova Scotia. Just talk about when you started knitting and when the design piece of it came into your life.
I learned to knit when I was in primary school, so just a couple of years ago now. But I was always surrounded by knitting, and my mum and my gran used to always knit, but when you're not actually that interested in it, you don't really notice.
Right.
Winter for me was always being wrapped and bundled up in cable sweaters, which were itchy and horrible and nasty. And I actually didn't really knit I learned in school and then didn't knit again until we moved to Canada in 2009 with a 6-month-old.
Oh my goodness.
My husband's Canadian, so we moved here, and money was tight. Everybody that we knew at that time were having children, and I thought, okay, well, I remember how to knit, kind of. And this would be a really good way to get gifts, inexpensive. I thought inexpensive gifts to give to people. So I picked up my needles, and then it became, because back then Skype was really the only thing we had, and I would Skype with mum, and I would Skype with my gran, and we would knit together, and I would ask them all the questions. And from then it just went craft fairs, and then in 2018, actually, we moved to Texas. We moved to Texas for 3 years, and I couldn't work when I was there, and knitting was the only thing I had.
Right.
And at that point, I discovered fingering weight yarn, which I'd been scared of up until then.
Okay.
My first shawl.
Okay.
And it kind of went from there. And the designing just came naturally, I think, just because I saw patterns and I was changing bits and pieces. And I'm Frenchie Denoy from Araha Knits. She had a design course, which I thought, I'm not doing anything else, I'll do that. So with the Swatch Studio Circle, she called it, it's actually closing now at the end of this year, but that's where I got into design from, and it just went from there, which was well timed because pandemic hit.
Sure.
So that got me through pandemic, and there we go.
And then you moved back, you escaped Houston back to Nova Scotia.
Back to Nova Scotia a year past June. We've been here,
Not to put words in your mouth, but as a recovering Texan myself, I feel that.
Well, we were in Texas for the election.
Yeah.
Let's say that's we don't need to say anything more.
I totally understand. I understand what you're coming from. So, Laura, I feel like some people know you, will probably have already met you from the last round or from our Zoom calls, but just for the new folks, we have, I think, quite a few new followers in. Why don't you give a little bit of background in terms of how you came to the dyeing, and you also design as well, so how that came into to your life?
Well, so I'm Laura from Always Be Kind Yarn, and I started out crocheting. I crocheted. I learned how to crochet when I was 7 or 8. My granny taught me how, and my mom. And I started doing that, and I attempted to teach myself to knit a few times along the way, but everybody that I knew knew how to crochet. And so I didn't have anybody to help me or teach me or learn. And then about 7 years ago, one of my friends, she said, well, you can crochet, so surely you can knit. So I picked up knitting, and
they're exactly the same.
Yeah, they are exactly the same. But I love both, but I definitely spend a lot more time knitting nowadays than I do crochet. But knitting is definitely my favorite thing. Oh. And socks, especially socks. It's all socks. Okay, 90% of the time it's socks. And so about 2.5 years ago, we lost our daughter, Kaylin, as you can see up here on the top. We lost my daughter to suicide about 2.5 years ago. And I had this idea of doing something that kind of as a grief project for myself. And I had dyed some yarn and knit it up, and it just was perfect for her. And so I named it Rainbows for Kaylin. It was my original yarn. And it kind of just spiraled from there. And so then last year for our the End Aid Knitalong Pride Edition, I actually have my sample. My Inclusive Pride self-striping yarn came out last year, and we did this for the Knitalong last year, and it was so much fun, and it has been such a popular colorway that I continue to make this and continue to donate for the proceeds from the sale of this yarn to your endeavors. So that was our one that we did last year.
Right.
So I just kind of decided that I needed to do something, and colors and yarn and fiber and knitting and crochet and all of those things really feel good to me. They're good, not therapy, but they're therapeutic, right?
Sure,
they feel good, and they're soothing, and I love gifting handmade things to people. And so yeah, I've just really enjoyed that. So I dyed a variety of different things. Self-striping sock yarn is definitely my thing that is unique for me. That's my special thing. And then I just released an Advent countdown calendar kit pattern, a big shawl wrap that I did just recently. And so I've done some designing a little bit, like it's barely, and dyeing. I love colors and yarn.
I grabbed my copy of the new Advent wrap pattern last night. So
oh, fantastic! Thank you.
But and you should also, I will mention that in addition to the huge help that you've been to my fundraising, all of your dyeing efforts and everything you use to help support mental health and suicide prevention, particularly within that. So it's sort of your mission, which is I think how we kind of connected and have remained connected, is just this sort of combining a mission with this love of fiber is really amazing. So
yeah, a portion of the proceeds from everything that I do, all of my yarn, it goes towards suicide prevention, awareness, mental health in a variety of different endeavors. One of the big ones, though, especially right now that I've done and that I'm doing currently, is the Trevor Project. Again, another push for support for the Trevor Project. So in addition to, like for this one, in addition for the proceeds to support your organization, they also support the Trevor Foundation, including all of the Pride yarns that I do. So it's a big deal for me.
Yep.
It's a club that of losing a child or a loved one to suicide. It's a terrible club to be in. Nobody wants to join. So just sharing, spreading love, kindness, hope, joy. And I do it through yarn. It's not about the yarn, but the yarn is a fun way to stitch different people together and join the effort. So
that's fantastic.
Thank you.
No, that's amazing. I love, I don't love the impetus to the story, obviously, but I love how you've taken a moment of grief or continuing moments of grief and sort of turned it into something really positive that is able to bring something you love into the world as well.
Thank you.
Let's talk about this new project. Duane, I'll throw it back to you. So we have a sock, and I know we have We have the worsted weight sample, I think, to show. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the sock, and if there was any inspiration for it, or just kind of how it came about. I know you have at least one more sock I've seen designed, but
yes.
I don't know if this is your second or if you have others that are not up there. Okay.
No.
Go ahead.
I'm not a sock knitter. I'm terrible.
Okay.
I'm not a sock knitter. The other sock pattern that I have was the first pair of socks I ever knitted. And so then okay, long story short. I have to apologize first because my sample, I actually had to take off my daughter's feet.
Now listen, that means it's well loved. It must be a very good sock if it's
It doesn't really fit on my sock blocker anymore because it's slightly stretched out. But the first version of these, I have yarn that my sister-in-law's Norwegian.
Okay.
So when I first started picking up my needles again, she sent me wool, proper wool from Norway, and oodles of it, which translated lots and lots and lots of yarn. So I have a cupboard full of, it's not pretty. This Norwegian yarn is not pretty. So I had these sock skeins and I thought, I'm going to knit a pair of socks. It's worsted weight. I want to do some cables because I was feeling a bit cable-y at the time. And this, I'm going to show the actual sock first, but these first ones I knitted are an example of why you shouldn't use variegated yarn for cables. So I got some proper worsted weight yarn and I knitted the pattern properly. And here is the sock. Yeah.
No, you're saying that's variegated? No, that's not variegated.
No, this is not. Oh. No, this is.
Oh, because that looks beautiful. I don't.
This one works. I got a nice solid color.
Yeah.
It is on the blocker, but I can take it off. So on this sock, the cables are only on the front.
Right.
And it has moss stitch on the back.
Oh my gosh.
It's a bit stretchier.
Yeah.
And the cables start off full width and then they decrease until you have a single cable that runs down towards your pinky toe.
Gotcha. Okay, so that's on the kind of the outside front of your leg. Okay.
So then if you put both together.
And it runs down the opposite side of the, or I guess on the outside of each foot. Oh, that's beautiful.
Yep. And it doesn't really matter. I mean, you can wear them like that if you want to on
your
big toes. But...
those are gorgeous.
Thank you. That's the sock. It's from an unseasoned sock knitter. I wanted to make it as easy to follow and simple as I could. I look at sock patterns and I think, that looks really complicated with all the pieces, and they're beautiful, but complicated. So this is just a twisted rib. We'll knit through the back loop, and then it's just knit one purl one. And then the cables are on the front. It's easy to remember your moss stitch on the back. And then the rest of it's all just plain knitting.
Okay.
It is a heel flap and gusset. And then Kitchener stitch for the toes.
I've got to say, I'm still stuck at the very first sock I ever knit was also a sock that I designed, because I'm just sort of like, my mind has exploded that I struggle with I knit Laura's socks last year, which was the first complete set I knitted. And it's just like this stumbling block. And it's kind of like what you said, is every time I look at the pattern, one of these patterns, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so like so many little bits and bobs that I'm like, I'm not sure I can get it done. So the fact that you're just sort of like, oh, I'm going to design a sock and it will also be the first thing I knit, it just is sort of amazing.
Well, the first one actually was a commission, because a friend of mine was dyeing yarn at the time in Scotland, and she had 3 colorways on BFL, and she was designing these colorways for her grandfather who had just passed.
Oh, wow.
And he always used to wear Argyle patterned socks, still with the cross of colour, with the other cross of colour in between. And she wanted Argyle socks. And of course, me in my infinite wisdom said, absolutely, of course.
Yeah, there is a real sort of power in just saying yes to things, which is kind of how I got this whole thing going for me, is just kept saying yes to people saying like, what if we did this, I think it was maybe Laura said, what if we did a sock for, Pride next year? I was like, yeah, sure, why not? So I get it. I get that. That's cool.
So it was, baptism of fire. I had to design it at that point. So we got through it. It was good.
Right. Yeah. And that's the first one, the it's called a wee dram of something. Yeah.
Yes, because it's whiskey colored.
Yes, and it's a sort of a cabled argyle, not the intarsia argyle that you think about looking at an argyle sweater. But
I started off swatching for that. Yeah, no, that wasn't good.
You're like, nope.
So it's a cable diamond with lace, an opposite lace diamond on the inside creates the two. But we're not talking about those socks.
No, we're talking about that. So first, we should tell everyone what the name of this particular sock is.
This sock is called Resolution Socks. It actually, it was the same yarn dyer in Scotland who I said I would, we should have a Knitalong and we'll do this. I'm kind of thinking about this. That was a year ago. But I love the cables on here. Again, they scream cozy.
Mm-hmm.
And for a worsted weight sock, I mean, this is cascade and it's woolly, and you can see it's pilled a bit. Laura's sock yarn is going to be much better.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. When I very first saw the picture months ago, I was like, that those cables, they just look squishy, the way that those cables knit up, and it just screams sort of, cozy, around a fireplace kind of, things that I don't get in Southern California, but I can remember my time on the East Coast and how nice it would be to have a pair of woolly socks around the cold house. So you go ahead.
I have a picture of them in fingering weight as well.
Oh yeah, sure.
Because I don't have the sample in fingering weight, but I have the picture. So they're the same, but they just have more cables. Gotcha.
Beautiful. And I guess as a good sort of segue over to the yarn side, it is 100-gram skein of yarn, and fingering weight will get your socks, a pair of socks done. Yeah. Obviously, if you have gigantic feet, you might need to adjust things. And then we were talking earlier, for the worsted weight to be 100% safe, if you want them all in that single color, probably best off to get 2 skeins, because you're saying it's about 120 grams. But you could also, if it's a heel flap and gusset, and you could definitely take a contrasting color to do your heel toes and cuffs, and probably get off with just the 1 skein of worsted weight for the main color. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I show you my Franken socks, I call them, which was the first pair. Ignore for a second the fact that they're variegated and you can't see anything. These were 50-gram skeins, and I ran out for the toes.
For the toes. Okay. Right.
So if you were going to do this with a 100-gram skein, and the green ones I have, these were 102 grams. So I did have a second skein, and I just broke into it ever so slightly.
Okay.
And I have a size 9-ish foot.
Okay.
But if you were going to do contrasting heels, toes, and cuffs,
then you for sure would be fine. Yeah, I was going to say, you could probably even just keep the, and this is where I said, my knowledge of sock knitting is a little, I don't know how easy it is to do one versus the other in a contrasting color, but you could definitely do, just because I see people do the toes and cuffs, or just the heels and toes. So if you pick your 2, and you would probably be able to do that fine.
But that's the thing about knitting, though. We can do whatever we want.
That's true. That's true. You could have 2 different pairs. You get grab 2 skeins of worsted weight yarn in 2 different colors, and go to town. Then nobody knows that it's a Franken sock, because you're just like, well, this is how it was meant to be. So, well, Laura, what do you have for us on the yarn side of things for these gorgeous cabled socks?
Well, being as they're called resolution socks, I decided I needed to go with something that was outside my normal bright rainbow colors, because that's my thing, right? I'm all about the rainbows.
Right.
So I decided to go a different direction and find something that felt a little bit more cozy.
Okay.
And came up with some names that are along the lines of resolutions. So, and thanks for your help and suggestions today. It was very helpful.
I meant to bring a notepad to write them down, but you'll send them to me after.
Oh, I will. I'll definitely send them to you. Okay, so we'll start off. Somebody mentioned they want them in blue, so let's start off with the blue. So here's our blue color. This is the worsted weight and the fingering.
Awesome. And the fiber content of each of them?
So all the worsted weight is 100% superwash fine merino.
Okay.
And there are 218 yards per 100 grams.
Okay.
And the fingering is, this is my super sock base. It is 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon. Okay. And it really works up nice for socks.
Yes.
It creates a great fabric for socks.
Perfect.
So this is my blue color, and this is called New Beginnings Blue.
Beginnings Blue, I like it.
So for the new year, new beginnings.
It's a nice sort of like washed out denim kind of vibe.
Yeah, and so there's some grays and blues, but not super variegated. They're more tonal kind of shades. So you shouldn't get pooling and different patterning in the yarn. It's just some subtle, subtle changes. So that's blue. And then we have Fresh Start Green.
Ooh.
So this is the worsted and the fingering.
Love it.
Some
That's so
nice
pretty.
green.
Beautiful.
Some green shades. And then we have Resolution Red.
Ah.
So this kind of getting a little bit washed out. It's really a little bit deeper red than what it's looking like on with the camera.
That's a nice red though. I like that.
Yeah, that was a really fun one. And I tried 4 different shades of red to get the kind of color and the tone I was looking for, and mixed. Hopefully I can recreate it because it was a combination.
I've heard someone else, a friend of mine who has done some dyeing, says that she doesn't dye anymore, but she said red is like one of the hardest things to get a good red.
And a consistent, and I weighed and I measured and I wrote down the recipe, and we'll see what happens.
And it's great because it's not a holiday red. I think especially round about now, so many reds they just scream holidays, and that doesn't. Yeah. That's wonderful. And
this, it ended up being more like a cayenne kind of a red, a cayenne pepper kind of red. And that's really what I was going for. I wanted something that felt warm and bold, but not holiday, Christmassy, festive kind of, right?
Sure.
And then the last one that I have, this is I Can Caramel. This is a caramel color, and it's I Can. So resolution for the new year, I can. Absolutely, I can. So some different shades of caramels and golds.
Gorgeous. That is going to look so good with those cables.
And then here's the fingering.
Yeah. Ooh, I think I know which color I'm gonna be knitting up. I mean, I always go for blue, but that caramel is
isn't that it's so pretty?
Yeah.
So I dyed up, and I just did these last night. I dyed 5 of each base in each color. Okay. So those are available and ready to ship.
Okay.
So I could ship those out in the next within the next week, and then I'm taking a week off for the holidays, going out to see my grandkids. My daughter and her husband share their time split for the holidays, and so we always go out before the holidays and we have pretend Christmas.
Okay.
So next week is pretend Christmas. And that's just what we call it, and the kids call it that, and we look forward to it, and we do the whole pretend everything, and it's a blast.
Oh, that's fun.
So we're doing that next week, and I'm going to be on vacation for about 10 days.
Okay.
So I've got a few ready to ship now. I'll open up a pre-order, and I will do another batch around the 20th of December.
Which gives them plenty of time
to be able to ship in time for cast on the 1st.
Okay.
But these are available to ship. 5 of each color are available now. I'll do another round at the end of the month.
5 of each color in each base.
Yeah.
Perfect. And they're up. Are they up on the website right now, or?
No, because no, I couldn't do a sneaky peek. I had to wait. I had to wait until. So here's
They all look great. They look great together as a set too. So
yeah.
So
they're not available on my website. I'll post them and have those available by the end of the day today.
I think if people wanted to buy a couple of skeins and do contrasting heel toes and colors, I think all those colors would look really fun together.
I did do some minis also for the fingering weight. I didn't do it in worsted, but the fingering weight, there's a mini that you could add to contrast. If you wanted to, it'll be available.
Always thinking ahead. I love it. So okay, and the pricing on that is?
These are $25, whether it's fingering or worsted.
Okay.
It's $25, and $5 of every skein goes towards its life cycle.
Perfect. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, someone in the chat saying the blue and the red would be fun together. I totally agree.
Wouldn't they? Look at that.
I think that's a really like classic fun kind of colorway. Okay, so that's that's the logistics on the yarn side. On the pattern side, Joanne, the pattern is going to be available on the 5th.
Monday.
Is that right?
Yep,
Monday.
Monday.
Okay, and it's two separate patterns. So the fingering weight or the worsted weight, and those will be up on Ravelry. I'll put links as they become available to everything as things get listed on the website. As things go live on Ravelry, I'll get links out. It'll be in all of the documents that are in my bio, the FAQ, and all that. And the pattern is the pattern is $6.
The pattern's $6.
Perfect.
I'm gonna try. So I'm gonna have it on my website as well as on Ravelry for anybody who can't use Ravelry or doesn't want to. $2 of each pattern will go to end its life cycle. The wrong one. I've done it the wrong way around. And I'm gonna try and sort out so that if you buy one, then the other one's 50% off. Because not everybody's gonna want both.
Sure. But it's to make it available for people. That's great. That's amazing. Yeah, because I'm going to be knitting the worsted weight one, but yeah, I would be up for having this segment. Hey, Sunny, how are you?
I never knit worsted weight socks. I've done DK one time, and I loved them. They were cozy, but like worsted weight doesn't equal socks for me.
Yeah.
So they will be definitely a thick, cozy. I'm gonna try it.
Yeah. In fact, I was because we have wood floors and I'm getting to the age that now I start thinking about falls. I'm like a little worried. I'm a little worried about slipping, especially because I'm always running around chasing the dogs. But I do have these little like leather, or I don't even know if they're leather or suede kind of bottoms that you can put on the bottom. And so I think I have a set of that I bought at my local yarn store, and so I may turn them in just like it's a little like house slipper kind of thing. Yeah.
They're definitely thick enough to be a house slipper.
Yeah.
A lot of shoes wouldn't fit with the worsted socks inside them. But I did hear a trick once, I can't remember where I heard it, but if you have a hot glue gun and you put little beads of hot glue on the soles of your socks, it's the same as those cozy toes.
Yeah.
It just gives you some static and then you don't slip.
Some friction, yeah. Oh, and someone, Sherry, a fellow Canadian, is saying you can get grippy paint for the bottom. So some sort
That's probably better than hot glue.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's been, okay. Look at this. We're giving people tips on making slippers and everything here. Okay, so Monday the pattern will go live, and then Monday, do you think they'll be able to order stuff by Monday on the website, Laura?
For me,
yeah,
these will be available today.
Oh, right.
I can start ordering as soon as today.
Okay.
I just have to make the listing and get them posted.
Okay. Let's see. I'm trying to think of questions that maybe people have on the pattern. Is it charted and written out, or just one or the other, or both?
Charted and written.
Okay. Beautiful.
There's some links for some video tutorials as well. So there's one for cabling without a cable needle. There's one for how to, it sounds silly, but how to read your knitting when you're doing the moss stitch. How to actually figure out, wait a second, which row am I on? How to actually do that. And then Kitchener stitch as well. Instructions like that are all written out.
Oh, beautiful. I love that. Yeah, we were in the Zoom. So for those of you who have not participated in one of the knit-alongs before, every Tuesday evening we do a Zoom, sort of just sit in it, hosted by Valerie of Creations by Valerie. And someone in one this week was talking about having gotten a cable pattern, and I think it was not just a simple one, but it was not charted. It was just written out. And so like each row was like this like massive paragraph of instructions. And I think if you have a simple cable pattern and you have not gotten to the point where you can read a chart, it's a great way to learn. My first real cable pattern was relatively simple, and I learned so much doing that, where I started out by trying to do it with the written instructions, and then finally learned kind of how to do it on the charting thing. Completely changed it for me, because it just really made things a lot simpler. So wow, I'm so excited. So, and for everyone else who's watching, so like I said, I'll post this up on YouTube either later tonight, probably tomorrow morning. And then I would just say stay tuned for if you've been watching me the last couple of days as these announcements come out. We've also had some giveaway announcements, so there's something I've got planned up my sleeve for the next couple of days to announce. So that'll be for all of you sock knitters out there. Is there anything that I
Gary?
Yes.
I caught earlier that you were doing a giveaway for one of the kits for the Crochetalong,
Yep,
and for the other
Knit-along. Yep.
I would like to do that as well.
Okay.
So I would like to offer a pattern and yarn for both the worsted weight and the fingering weight. So I'll do 2 kits and gift the pattern and the yarn to.
Yeah,
so however you choose to do it, I would like to donate.
I have an idea of kind of each one's a little bit different, so I'm kind of mixing up things and seeing how the rest. So Stuart's asking. So for the worsted, Stuart, it's 120 grams. So if you wanted it to be all of the same color, you should probably buy 2 skeins of the worsted. If you wanted to have just the body and do toes and cuffs, or toes and heels and cuffs in a contrasting color, you could probably get away with just 1 skein of the worsted. So up to you, knitter's choice. But for the fingering,
size 13 foot.
Unless you have a size 13 foot, then you should probably just buy.
You definitely need 2.
Huh?
Then you'll definitely need 2.
Yeah, then you should definitely buy 2. So yeah, it's probably going to be a new thing for a lot of people trying the worsted weight for the first time, because everyone's so used to just knitting fingering weight, fingering weight yarns to know how much yarn to do. Anything else before I let you guys get back to your evenings or afternoons that I missed? Kickoff cast on is January 1st. We will be running the knit-along through the end of February, as we always do for 2 months. There are 5 rounds of giveaways during the event. So the first one will be for cast on week, and then we'll do one at halftime, and then the final rounds, and we do prizes for FOs and whips. Most of the prizes are for whips, because I like to reward participation more than completion. And yeah, so we have a lot of fun. And like I said, we do a Zoom every week, and I'll jump on Instagram Live, every so often and do something. But most of the video stuff that I'm doing now has migrated over to YouTube. So every 2 weeks, pop over there, and I'll have updates on at least my progress on the knit-alongs and crochet-alongs, and I'll chat about anything that I learned from folks in the Zoom if people have had interesting experiences with any of the patterns. So can we do more than one for the cow? Can we do more than one?
Maybe both the worsted and the fingering weight?
Yeah, maybe do the if you're talking about doing the fingering weight and the worsted weight, sure. If you are talking about doing the shawl and the sock, yes. So the way that the giveaways work is each sort of category is its own bucket of prizes. So for example, for the more than one pattern, yeah, you can do the shawl and the sock for sure, and you'll be posting pictures of your progress on the shawl, and that'll go towards the knit-along bucket of prizes, and then your progress on the socks will go towards the sock knit-along bucket of prizes. But yeah, you can do, if you want to do all three. Last in this one that we just wrapped up, one person that I know of, there may have been more, but one person posted photos, and she completed the crochet project, the knitting project, and then we had a wildcard division this time, and she completed another project for the wildcard division all in the 2 months. So she got a special special prize at the end. Yeah, I was, and it was funny. I ran into her at the Fiber Festival up here, and she was wearing one of her things, so it was really cool to get to see that. So yeah, join as many as you'd like, often as you would like as well. Make several pairs of socks. All right. Duane and Laura, thank you so much for doing this. Thank you for joining me today. It's been really fun to finally meet you, Duane, face to face, at least over Instagram. And I'm glad we all got to connect, because I love the pattern. I love the colors that you come up with for the sock. I think it's going to make some beautiful socks for folks. So I appreciate everything you do, and have a great rest of your weekend. Anyone DM me with any questions along the way, I'm happy to answer them. Okay.
Thank you, Gary.
Yeah, take care.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
Laura.